Okay, you guys, the holidays are coming and we want to talk about joy and finding joy. And you don't have to find joy during the holidays. It is not, if you're not feeling it, it is okay to let that go. But we do need to find a way to get through the holidays and how to manage the time in the holidays. So we're going to talk about that today. And we're going to let go of that thing over your head saying you have to find joy. So we're going to talk about that. And my name is Shannon Passalacqua. I am a coach and I specialize in helping women heal after miscarriages and being someone who has been through miscarriages through the holidays. And I have tried to find joy in the holidays. I understand this topic very well.
I'm Heike Fallon. I'm a personal high performance coach as well. I help my clients with their self leadership to show up as better leaders and be physically, mentally strong. And what we're really talking about, if somebody had a traumatic event happening or just in general, just struggling with whatever happens in their current life, it's tough just because the calendar year tells us there's a holiday coming and now we're supposed to be all participating and have that joy. And it's not easy, and we don't need to put more shame, guilt, or anything on us by feeling that we have to participate. Now, we're not saying pull yourself completely away, hide in your four corners or whatever. Obviously, also, if you do have mental health struggle, please reach out to a professional
Yes.
and make sure you get the help that you need. But we're talking about that
Well,
you
I'm going to jump in. Sorry. That might be the best first tool right now. If you need extra sessions with your coach, with your therapist, schedule them, get in there. Go on.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So we highly encourage that. So what we're talking about is really when you're not, it's really hard to just feel like you need to participate, but you do want to participate, but it's just a discrepancy of how you feel, and it's very
Mhm.
hard when you see other people laughing and having the joy and you're
Mhm.
not quite feeling it if there's that discrepancy. And that's what we're talking about, because there's strategies that you can implement. But the first thing also is acknowledging, like we said, the mindset that you do not have to be out there, extremely joyful, but you do want to participate, but you might want to do it in a different way.
Yeah, I think, like you said, acknowledging it and taking that pressure off yourself because there is a societal pressure that we're supposed to look a certain way and feel a certain way during the holidays. And that's not always possible. Our lives happen and a lot of people might be struggling right now. There might be grief, there might be anxiety. The holidays bring about a lot of anxiety. So if you're not feeling like crazy joyous, it's okay. So let that go and just, I think, figure out a way to experience, how can you experience this in the best way possible? It doesn't mean that you aren't going to feel all the feelings, but how do we get through this in the best way possible? What are our next best steps to help ourselves through it? Um, and like you said, the first thing is acknowledging it. I think another thing is to also acknowledge other people. If you're not going through this, acknowledge that other people might be having a hard time and let them have a heart, like let them
Yeah.
feel their emotions. Don't put your expectations on them.
Oh, I love
Um,
that. I love that.
because I think when you come, like, you might have a lot of family gatherings or you might have a lot of social gatherings and you might be feeling amazing, but someone else may be having a really hard time and they may say, hey, I don't want to participate in that this time, or hey, I'm going to come, but I let them acknowledge it, say, I'm really sorry you're going through this, or I'm here for you, or you could even say to them, it's okay, you don't have to come.
Yeah.
Like, let them have their emotions because once they feel acknowledged and that they're not alone, it's going to help them work through it even easier.
And I'd like to add to that too is it may take them already a lot of energy to show up as is. So if they may not be their typical normal, like joyful, chatty, but they're more quiet, that's okay. They actually showed up. And
Mhm.
to acknowledge them, just to, hey, happy that you're here, and let them be the way they want to be and can be that day, I think is
Yeah.
very important. Oh, I love that you went right there. I think that right there brings also the fact that it's good to communicate that. That doesn't mean you have to put
Yeah.
it all out, but just even saying, hey, I'm still having a hard time with something, if you want to name it. If not, and just say, hey, I'm showing up, but I might not be
Mhm.
my typical how you know me, but I would love to still show up and communicate that. So I
Yeah,
think,
I've experienced both sides of this where I there was an event and I didn't want to go because of how I was feeling. And I had one friend who I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to go because this is how I'm feeling. And her response was, you don't have to. Like, do what's best to protect yourself and it's okay. And then I had another friend who was like, oh, please come. It's da 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 da. And I'm like, I felt so much more supported by that first friend who was acknowledging it and saying, it's okay. Like we're still going to love you.
yep.
Like, I don't want to feel the pressure to feel a certain way. And if I'm going to go into a certain function, I want people to, I don't want that pressure. So just know that, like, again, like you said, talk to people about it, make sure they're safe people.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And that is another way to really be mindful intentionally of what boundaries we're setting when we're saying
Mhm.
no. And it's okay to say no. Like,
Yeah.
that's to recognize, you know what, for me right now, it's healthier to say no or set certain boundaries. If I'm participating in something, to say, you know what, I'm only going to participate a certain amount or whatever it is. It's okay to set
Mhm.
those boundaries and to say no.
I do this a lot with my clients where, they've been through a lot of grief from their miscarriages and you know, then they receive an invitation to go to a baby shower or whatever, or if it's during the holidays, they're supposed to be around a lot of family and there's pregnancies and there's babies and I'm like, it's okay to say no. If they're your real friends, they're going to understand. And it's okay to say no. Set boundaries for yourself. If you feel like going, great, go. If you get there and you're like, this is causing too much anxiety, you can leave.
You can leave. That's right.
It's
Just
okay to
explain,
leave.
but you might want to share that at least with whoever's hosting or something, not just
Yeah,
disappear. Communicate is really what it is about. Well, because you don't want others to worry about you either,
true,
right?
true.
So
Yeah.
you do want to communicate that. Now I have a question, because I have not done that around the holidays. I have done that on loved ones that I miss. I actually have a little tradition on their birthdays, so that's my little thing there. But creating new traditions might help too, to kind of, because the holidays come around again
Yeah.
and again
Every year.
every year, and it might always bring up certain
Hmm.
emotions, even 5 years, 10 years later, and which is fine. But sometimes it might help to cope, to create some new tradition, some a moment of memory, or just putting a picture up, if it's about a loved one, or I don't know, light a candle.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've done
Yeah,
anything.
I do. I love that. We do this when my women are, if it's their due date,
Mm-hmm.
or around the holidays and they're having a hard time with the upcoming holidays. I've had so many miscarriages. I've had them around every holiday, um,
Oh man.
or every birthday or whatever. But I, urge them to do something in honor of the person they lost, the baby they lost, and whatever that looks like for you. So if that means you want to make an ornament for your Christmas tree in honor of that person, that baby, you can do that. If you're going to light a candle, um, Joe and I always light a candle on Miscarriage Awareness Day. Um, there is something that you can do if you just want to like be with your partner and talk to them and spend a little bit of time with them talking about that person, or um, just even a moment of silence, plant a tree, plant a flower. There's so many different ways and that you can acknowledge, and like you said, new traditions in honor of that. And I love that because you don't have to ignore whatever's going on, and I highly recommend you don't
Don't.
ignore it.
Highly recommend not ignoring.
Yeah. If you just want to speak their name around dinner, whatever it is, I think just bringing awareness to it is probably the most important thing. And, create a new tradition around that. And I don't know if you have any other ideas, but I do
Well,
love those.
no, just to comment, it's a fine line, whatever the person is ready. It doesn't mean you have to do any of this. It's just we're sharing just things that can be done that have
Mhm.
helped other people, have helped our clients to cope and navigate through a time that can be challenging. So it's really about finding what works for
Mhm.
you, but being aware of it, embracing it, and not giving up and just kind of throwing everything down, but to actually go, okay, no, maybe one little step I can do in this
Mhm.
direction is honoring that person this way. If that's not for you at all, then go for, you said, okay, spend time with your spouse and talk maybe, or if you don't have that, then a community can be really helpful. Like, I know you have you created actually your own community for miscarriage. It's called Miscarriage Warriors. So it's a community particularly for that. There's other
Mhm.
communities that, or, just a close friend, that can be really helpful during that time too. Again, it's not about you have to go do all of this, whatever
Right.
you're ready for and whatever you can do.
Yeah, definitely. I think I always recommend, and I think it's the hardest when you're going through hard times. But I always recommend finding some sort of community, whether that is a lot of people or a small amount of people or just one person. Find community where you feel safe, where you can talk about what you're going through. Um, I like to go on a walk with either my husband or a neighbor friend, and I always feel better afterwards. And whether that lasts for 5 minutes or the rest of the day,
Yep.
whatever, I always feel a little bit better and I can see a glimmer of hope, a glimmer of joy. And if that's all I can grab onto at that point, that's enough.
Yep.
So find some sort of community.
Yep.
I would recommend, like, this is something I do when I'm feeling very stressed, when I feel like my anxiety is really high, which it gets very high during the holidays. It's been very high. Something that I learned, I can't remember who from. But when you wake up, I think the majority of people wake up and reach for their phone immediately. I would say before you reach for your phone, because I know I can't tell you to not reach for your phone because it's a habit. Before you reach for your phone, reach for your heart and close your eyes and just breathe and feel your heart and give yourself 3-4 minutes to just sit there with your eyes closed and just say to yourself, I'm safe. I'm safe. I am loved. And just repeat that while breathing. And it's going to calm you. And it's going to give you a moment of, okay, I'm okay, before you dive into whatever the holiday season is bringing or whatever, all of that.
And maybe then still don't take the phone just for the
Try
reason.
to leave it for a little bit.
Well, and the reason why I'm seeing that right now, obviously, if it's something entertaining, that be maybe fine, but we tend to when we're already not feeling great, we tend to also gravitate to things that, make us maybe even feel more miserable. And that could be, dramatic news, things that are going on in the world. That alone can just add to it and trigger more. So being very aware of triggers, and the phone could be a trigger. I'm not saying it will have to, but it could be, depending on what you're looking at. Again, also, if it's, if you feel not good and you're looking at things that are like comparing yourself with other people that are now seem to be so joyful.
Well, yeah, they're all going to holiday parties,
Yeah,
or look at our family, our holiday pictures and all that. And you're like, this isn't helping me. Look, they've got a perfect life and I'm going through hell right now.
So recognizing and limiting those triggers during the time can be extremely helpful. And phone tends to be one that.
Yeah, I have been awful with my phone recently. Awful, because my whole family's been sick. We just haven't been able to so I've been terrible with my phone, and it has affected me a lot. And that literally the other day I was like, phone done with my phone, put it in the other room, done. Like, I cannot do this anymore. It's affecting me. It's affecting my sleep.
And we all get sucked into it. There's no judgment. It has to do with chemical releases in the brain. We all get sucked into it. But recognizing when it's impacting us in not a good way, mentally, then it's very important to eliminate either the whole phone altogether or other triggers. However, I think also, and I know you said you called it the finding a spark. I think you called it before.
Glimmer, yeah.
A little glimmer, because if you may not feel like that joy from deep within, but we can see some little glimmer, some little something somewhere for a moment, and kind of looking out for and paying attention where there's something where you may not feel great, but you do see something that warms your heart in the moment, to just paying attention to that a little bit more, that small little glimmer. And if it's somebody just giving you a hug, or something small, to just pay attention,
recognize it.
There are positive things around if we pay better and close attention to it. But just, it's hard because we feel like we just want to throw it all down and we're done with it. But
I'm not going to find anything that's good.
There's yes, I'm like, and why me and whatever. But there are little glimmers, little spots, and working little by little on that can have a profound impact.
If you're ready, try to add those moments into your life yourself. I think a lot of times we wait for other people to do it for us. And I think if you're ready and you're able to, try adding that into your day. What is it that brings you joy?
Yep.
Or just a little glimmer. It could be something minor. The other day I woke up and the sunrises have been amazing recently. I don't know if you've seen them, but I just noticed that and was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I would just love to be able to see the sunrise every once in a while, or my cup of coffee. I love it.
I'm not getting up early enough for the sunrise.
It's later than it used to be. We're in winter.
But I'm more the sunset kind of girl.
Yes.
But the point is, there's beauty around us, and oftentimes, like you said, to just going for a walk and being in nature, just being in that moment can really be impactful as well. So those are just going for a little walk again,
and be as present as you can be. When we are going through hard times, I think we spiral into what's happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future, and we can't control either one of those things. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, so let's put that aside. try to be as present as possible. When you are having those times with your family, like be present with your family. When you are having time by yourself, like be present and be with yourself. It's okay to just be in the moment and acknowledge it. And I think when you're living too much in the past or focusing too much on what's happened in the past and the anxiety that's come with that, or the anxiety that comes with, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, um, that causes a lot of stress, a lot of worry.
Yeah. I have a lot of my clients too that they may be used to doing everything for everybody else, particularly during the holiday season, right? And there's maybe also certain expectations from the other end that, oh, they always do everything, so they're
Yeah.
going to do it all again.
Yes.
And forgetting a little bit, and that's in general, traumatic event or not traumatic event or whatever you're feeling, but not taking care of yourself enough to
Hmm.
reduce the stress levels that might come with the holiday season. Taking care of yourself is, as we always say, putting on an oxygen mask first,
Hmm.
because you need to first take care of yourself. There's no
Yeah.
way taking care of anybody else or prepping anything or doing anything if you're not taking care of yourself. And self-care is not selfish. And particularly in the times when things are tough, you might need to do more,
Extra.
not extra, exactly,
Well,
not
well,
less.
that's the thing is, and we tend to put those things aside, right? We tend to do less of it because we're like, well, we're too busy. I'm not going
Or
to
we
work
feel
out. I'm
too
not going to eat
miserable.
healthy or whatever. And that's when we need even more. Whether it's like a 5 minute like reset of I'm just going to close my eyes and let my let my whole body decompress. That's fine, but like don't take away your self
Yeah,
care.
and when we're talking self-care, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go now work out tremendously more. Working out isn't necessarily
Right.
self-care. It just means taking a moment for yourself. Maybe just
Doesn't mean you have
kind
to
of,
do a 45-minute meditation.
no, it oftentimes it's just kind of giving yourself a little extra space or a little quiet time or whatever it is for you that gives you energy. If
Can I
it,
tell you something that I did the other day?
yeah.
So there's always noise around me. Got loud family. Um, when I sleep, I listen to white noise or brown noise to help me sleep. So there's always noise. And I realized the other day, I'm like, I haven't had like quiet for a long time. So the only quiet place I have in my house is my closet. So I went in my closet and I laid down in my closet and I just laid there with my eyes closed for like 10 minutes.
How did it feel?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like I just was like, I just want to have some quietness and be with nothing.
Okay, I'm going to share a funny story too now. It was, I think it was about maybe 2 years ago. I don't know, but it was in the summer, so our front door's open. But I just had such a crazy day, and it was in the afternoon, and my husband was doing something in the kitchen, and I just, wherever, like just right in front, I just laid down on the floor and
Yeah.
just kind of closed my eyes, and I just was listening to him and I just kind of like needed just laying down. I was just exhausted, but our front door was still open and I was just laying there. And I had somebody pick something up. We have like this little mom swap here. So from online, I don't know who it was, but like we just put it in front of the house to sell it and they just pick it
Yeah.
up. And then I realized after I got up again that the person had picked it up, and I actually texted him after and said, "Did you see me laying there?" And she goes, "Yeah, I saw you laying there." I'm like, "Yeah, I had a moment of of recovery there, trying to energize up again." But sometimes those little moments,
Well, and that's good grounding, right? Like
yeah,
it's just a
I
nice,
I
I
felt
did
so
it.
good. But the
Yeah, I
point
did it
is
the other
that
day.
that
I was
can be
laying down on the
self-care.
ground.
That's self-care. That's
do
if
what
you
works for you.
do what works for you. And if you're in that moment, maybe have to lie down somewhere, have it quiet, have to whatever you do. It just was sometimes it's good to do something just very quick in between. That's self-care, recognizing what you need at that moment. Now, I'm not saying lie down somewhere in the shopping mall.
Please don't do that.
But I think it's often misunderstood that self-care is not about like, we got to work out more and hustle more and do more of something. It's like oftentimes just in the moment, and it could take 5-10 minutes, and that's okay. It's about re-energizing and or managing your energy better and your stress. And that is particularly important during times where things are a little rougher, and at the same time, it kind of overlaps with what our calendar schedule has on there as far as the holidays. So hopefully this was all great information. I definitely learned something again from you, so I love it. And
take care of yourself. It's okay to not participate in all of the joy. Give yourself a break. It's okay to feel your emotions and just do what works for you.
Absolutely. Embrace it. And there is a time that this also ends, right? Yeah. There is a new year, which is kind of nice after this holiday part. There is a new year.
And you might find joy later on.
And you find joy later on, whatever it be. But the key is to embrace it and really do whatever works for you, and still moving forward though. So if there's any need, we both do take clients on for coaching. So if you struggle with this, our information is below. But with that said, it's okay. You will get through this, and it will get better at some point.
Absolutely. Okay.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.